Now this piece of paper here is obviously our initial experiments with whether the subject is, or the pen is waterproof or not waterproof, and I'm now just going to remove it. And perhaps before I do remove it, and if you could just look at me, at my drawings for a minute, I actually always think this is quite a useful start to something with pen and ink. So I'm going to tell you why I did it. Sometimes it's very good to just draw straight lines, horizontal lines, and circles just to get your attention really focused before you start embarking on a drawing. And especially with pen and ink and pencil, it's really valuable. You can spend 5-10 minutes doing it, and it really gets the eye focused on the end of the pen or the pencil, so your attention doesn't slip all over the place, which I don't know, maybe yours doesn't slip out all over the place, but mine does at times. So I just find it a useful way of just settling down before starting a drawing. Okay, so I'll drop that in, and if you want to do something like that on the side before you start, that's fine. I'm going to get my new clean piece of paper, which I've got here, and for this initial study, which is of the one piece of fruit, I'm going to start by, as I know my ink is not waterproof, I'm going to just draw it with my pencil and get the shape established. And now once I've done that, I'll then show you what I'm going to do next. So we will keep reasonably together at this point. Right. Whoops. Okay. That's my single shape. You will see it?
Yep.
Now, this is just pencil, and like I said to you, I'm going to start by applying a bit of wash to it, and then I will maybe put a little bit of back of the edge of the board on to indicate that it's sitting on something. Now I've got my wash mixed up in the pot, and it's quite pale, and this is not watercolor paper, it's just cartridge paper, so it won't stand too much water on it. So I'm going to not overdo the washes. I'm going to indicate where the half tones, that's the area that's halfway between dark and light, and the darks are. I'm going to put it in very broadly and very quickly. You can watch me if you like, or not watch me, as the case may be. And I'm also going to indicate what's going on with this car shadow. And possibly, I think it'd be useful just to indicate a little bit of the back of the board. So I'm just putting a little tiny line in. And that's it. Okay. I'm now going to put my brush down and I'm going to start using my pen. And I'm obviously going to avoid the very wet bits for the minute. I'm going to develop the drawing by using the pen where, you know, in the areas that I haven't established. So the back of the actual pomegranate. In fact, I'm going to bring it in a wee bit. And these strange little shapes at the top here. Okay, now at this point I'm going to stop because I'd like you to just look up. Okay, all I've got there is an outline shape and a little bit of suggestion of the stalky bit of the pomegranate. I've left the areas that are light white paper, and the rest of it I've just put in on as a you know, a tone. Now, because it's a round shape, and because I'm now going to develop the actual form of it, I want you just to look at this here. So I'm at this sort of stage. Now, I know I have talked about cross-hatching many times, and it can either be done well or it can be done badly. And I'm going to try and hopefully do it reasonably. When you're using what's called cross-hatching, it's, you know, it literally is, it's more this sort of thing where lines actually cross over each other. However, when you're using pen and ink and you're describing a round form, you start in the same way. Instead of just starting with, sorry, if you can see it, straight lines like this, which is what I would do if I was cross-hatching, they need to be evenly spaced, if possible, okay? The same applies when you're doing a line like this. To describe a curving surface, you need to space the lines evenly. Don't just allow your pen to do a random set of curved lines. Okay, so if the shape if you're drawing around a round shape, say, and you want to describe the fact that it's a curving shape, you can actually use curving lines but space them evenly. All right, so, and then if you want to, you can go back and go over them. But again, the spacing between the lines needs to be kept consistent if possible. Otherwise, you end up creating something that's not very attractive.
Or something that implies folds.
Yes.
Where there aren't any.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to go back to this little one I did up the top here and develop this for you, because that was just a bit rough. But here, I would actually go over this tone underneath and carefully do little curving lines like that. Okay. Where the top of the stalky bit is actually standing up, I would probably use straight lines, vertical lines rather. Now you can turn your paper and go back. This really does need a bit of care.
Move the paper up a bit, Sue.
Yeah, we can't see it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Better? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can go back over and do what I'm saying, cross hatch it, but be careful. Assess what you do and look at it and see, is it describing a curve or what's happening? Okay. I think this needs a bit more tone on it, so I would continue these lines up a bit further. Okay, can you see?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that in the stalky bit up the top here, I mean, I could use, you know, dots as well as using lines. You know, I could actually create texture to just describe tone. It also works. You know, don't have to use line. You can use little dots. You can use those. What is important is to bear in mind that the other thing is that the spacing between the lines, let's find a clean piece of paper here. If I do them close together, it creates a tone. If I open them up a bit, it creates a sense of it getting lighter. All right. Mm-hmm. So that also applies. when you cross hatch, if you want to do it with line rather than curve, again, you can go at it from several directions to create the tone. If I turn this round a bit, so I've gone at it both ways, I can then go horizontally over some of it, and that will make that even darker where those lines are going horizontally over the same area. So you can build the tone up, is what I'm saying. Okay.
Mhm.
Right. There's nothing to stop you at the end when you've got all this developed up as much as you want. You can go back and you can put some more tone on it. So you could go back and, you know, put a brush load of wash over the top, but be careful, because already I'm seeing my ink dissolving, the line dissolving, and you know, it sort of changes it from being, you read it one way and then it starts to sort of merge, and I'm not sure that you know, a little bit of merging is all right, but when it gets too much, you lose that kind of, you lose the pen line basically.
And you're not touching the shadow at all.
I haven't done anything on the shadow yet, Chris. I mean, the shadow would also be treated in a similar way, so I probably would go back over the shadow where it's close to the fruit. I'd make sure
Oh, I see. Yes.
it's dark.
Yes, that's good.
I mean, that bit's got to be dark, whereas as it comes out
It gets
towards the
lighter.
outside, you can almost not have any line. You could just make the, you know, have the odd line, but open it all up, you know, keep it
Yes.
keep it simple.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's all get going with the single fruit and see how we get on. And when you've reached a point where you feel it's complete, could you let me know? And I'd like to have a look at it.